gently close. And just allow yourself to turn your attention inward. Just take a moment and draw the energy of awareness inward. Allow that awareness to merge with your breath as it flows in and flows out in unbroken waves like the ocean. Coming into shore and then going back. The wave builds, it comes in, and then it goes out. Just allow the breath to become slow and unbroken. And let the awareness merge fully with that. Just gently breathing in this sacred life force, the sacred prana, coming to us from the tops of the Himalayas, blowing across the waters of Mother Ganga. We breathe it in. And then exhaling from deep within us back into the universe. You'll notice if you hold your physical body very, very still, try not to move at all. If you do that, you'll notice that as you breathe, slowly, slowly that border between inner and outer starts to dissolve. And it's no longer that you're breathing from outer to inner, or exhaling from inner to outer, but rather that entire boundary dissolves, and suddenly there is no inner, there is no outer, there is only breathing. Allow that awareness to expand. There is no inner. There is no outer. There is just breathing. And our awareness is merged into that breathing. Slowly and gently, bring the palms of your hands together at chest level. Rub them gently against each other. And then press the palms of your hands gently into your closed eyes. Slowly open your eyes and lower your hands. Welcome to Satsang. So glad to be together with all of you tonight. This beautiful, fragrant garden under the stars. We'll begin with a question that's come in advance, and then I'll open it up to any questions that anyone here or in our online community might have. How do I become more patient? So patience, as they say, is a virtue. And it's a wonderful virtue to cultivate. There was a great study that was done a long time ago. You can Google all of the details if you want. It's called the Marshmallow Study. And it's a study in which researchers took very young kids, toddlers, 3-4-year-old kids, and they put them in a room, and they put on the plate in front of the child 1 marshmallow. And they said, either you can eat this marshmallow now, or if you can wait, I think it was 5 minutes. It wasn't 2 hours. It was a short period of time, but long if you're 3. Maybe 10 minutes, but I think it was shorter. Then you get 2 marshmallows. And they noted how many kids ate the marshmallow right away and how many were able to wait for the second marshmallow. When they looked at those results decades later, what they found was that the toddlers who had been able, against all of their instincts, I mean, toddlers are not known for patience. Their cerebral cortexes are not yet developed to the level of higher level reasoning. You know, they're not making lists of pros and cons and planning and strategy. And it's all about impulse and instinct at that time. But the ones who were able to wait, to understand something better is coming if I can just manage a little bit of discomfort, actually ended up with markedly more successful lives. They were much more successful on every level. Their IQs were higher. I mean, across the board, on every level of marking. These kids grew up into adults who were much more successful. And what it shows, as if we didn't already know it, is that patience isn't just a virtue because you're nicer to be around, because you're not so stressed all the time yelling at people to hurry up. But actually, it's a virtue that bestows upon those who are able to cultivate it a life that is a lot more successful. But it is something that has to be cultivated. It's not something that comes naturally to most of us. And especially these days, tragically, with the way that our world has sped up. Everything is now immediate. I mean, it used to be, I feel like some very old person talking about, the old days. But it used to be that you would actually write a letter by hand on a piece of paper. And it would take you quite a while to write it if you were writing to a close friend or someone you really wanted to share things with. Typically letters were at least a few pages by hand. And then you would fold the letter and you'd stick it in an envelope. And you'd write their address and you'd lick a stamp. You'd seal it. And then you would walk out to your driveway and put the letter in your mailbox. Or if you didn't have a mailbox, if you lived in an apartment or whatever, you'd put the letter in a mailbox on the street. And then you'd wait. And they would get it sometimes days, sometimes weeks later. I had a lot of friends, a lot of international friends when I was growing up. And it would take weeks for my letters to get to people in France, in Kuwait, in England. And then, of course, it would take them a while to write back. And then they would put it in an envelope, and then it would reach me. So, you're looking at approximately anywhere from a few weeks to a month, 2 months, before you get a response. Now, I can't tell you how many phone calls or text messages or WhatsApps I get every day by somebody saying, I've sent you an email and you haven't replied. And I say, well, when did you send it? An hour ago. Yesterday. You know, we've gotten to a point where there's an expectation that everything's going to happen immediately. Whatever we want. And you go to Amazon. In India, things still take at least a couple of days. In big cities of America, same-day delivery. When I'm at my parents' house in LA, if I need something on Amazon, I can order it in the morning and have it by evening. Immediate. And if that's going to take too long, and you actually want it from a store somewhere across town, well, then you just pull out one of these apps where you pay somebody to run your errands for you. And in an hour, somebody will show up at your door with the thing that you need. Need money? Well, you just go to any of the ATMs, stick your card in, money. Doesn't matter if a bank's open, closed, nothing. Everything is immediate. Food, drive-thrus. We don't even want to get out of the car anymore. I mean, restaurants certainly made things a lot faster. Fast food made restaurants even faster. But now nobody even has the time to get out of their car. Now we just want to sit in our car and have someone essentially throw food through our window that we can eat before we get home. So we've gotten very acculturated into a society in which everything really is now. No need to wait. And so we've lost this ability to be patient. And the dilemma, of course, is that we become stressed. We start expecting ourselves to perform at a faster level than is humanly possible. We get frustrated with ourselves. We fill our day with so much that if we're running even 5 minutes behind, we're late. We fill our kids' days with so much that if we get stuck at a red light on the way to soccer practice, we're late. And so everything has become so fast. We've gotten out of touch with the rhythm of the universe. It's one of the reasons I love nature so much, because it feels like it just resets my brain. Sit in the dirt, sit under a tree, watch the waves on the ocean, and you can reset yourself into the actual timing flow of nature and the universe, which is not like this. When we're impatient, we also miss so much of life because we're always on the next thing. So we're not even here. I'm already late for the next thing. It's already overdue. And so I miss where I am right now. And so really it's a beautiful question. And it just takes practice. Make yourself wait. It's dinner time? Great. Thali is there, your plate is there, sit down. Force yourself to wait 5 minutes staring at your food before you eat it. After you've prayed, after everything, just make yourself wait. You can cover it so it doesn't get cold, But just sit there. 5 minutes. Watch what your brain does. Watch how difficult it is to just sit there. Don't distract yourself with your phone. Just sit there and wait. It's an incredible practice. Small, easy, free. And you will see the first time you do it, how many times your hand comes up to start eating before you remember, oh, I'm waiting. And then take that into other things that you're going to do. Somebody sends you an email, you're about to respond. Make yourself wait. Don't do something else to distract yourself in the meantime. Because it's not a strategy about communication, it's just a teaching of patience. Just stand there. Stare at your computer. Just stare at it for 5 minutes. Or your phone, whatever you type on. Just wait. Not by scrolling Facebook or Instagram. Just wait. In 15, 20 minutes a day, evenly spaced with different things, just making yourself wait. First of all, you will see how incredibly difficult it is. How the mind starts saying, oh my God, I can't just stand here. There's so much to do. What do you mean? What is she talking about? Time is slipping through my fingers. And if I don't reply immediately, they're going to think I'm rude. The mind is incredible. If you don't start eating right away, somebody else is going to take all the rest of the chapatis on the table. You're going to go hungry. Just develop a habit of forcing yourself to wait for something you're about to do. And see what happens. Just develop that ability. When you expect something of somebody else, and you're just about to ask them, verbally, in writing, via some message, whatever it may be, about that thing that you want them to do that you're waiting on. Wait 24 hours. If you can't, if it's something really urgent, wait 3 hours. But give people in your life also the spaciousness to do what they also know needs to be done, but in a rhythm that isn't so sped up. Before we had MP3s and whatnot, I've been in the old days recently, but anyway, when we used to have just tape players, cassette players, if you hit the fast forward button at the same time that you hit the play button, you would get this kind of screechy, really, really fast voice of whatever was on the cassette. You could barely make out anything that was happening, and it was awful for the ears. But it was a way to kind of fast forward if you wanted to get to a different song, for example. But that screechiness, that real distinct unpleasantness of the sound of fast forwarding, is something that's always stayed with me. Because even now, even though with our music we can just very easily hit next and there's no screechy anything, in life, the more we try to fast forward through life, the more screechy and unpleasant it gets. And so it reminds me of those tape players and the awful sound they made when you tried to fast forward through them. So life is kind of the same way. So just start with these tactics, these tools, and mostly just keep remembering I'm cultivating patience. Stay mindful, stay aware. Cultivating patience. Every day in the morning, reaffirm your commitment to cultivate patience. Every night at the end of the day, celebrate all the times that you cultivated patience throughout the day. Make it really part of your awareness. And slowly, 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 you'll see it'll become just part of your nature. Part of who you are. Questions? Any questions? Yes. Is your hand up? Yes. Perfect. One from our online audience.
This was from Instagram from VJ, and he said, if I remember correctly, he said that he had been part of ISKCON, and in ISKCON's teachings, they teach that Brahman arrived when Maya found Brahman, and that even if you reach enlightenment, Maya will always grab you and pull you back. And he wanted to know, is there ever an end? And can you ever really be free, or is enlightenment pointless? He was very frustrated.
There's absolutely an end to Maya. Maya means illusion. For those of you not familiar with the Sanskrit terms. It means illusion, but it's not an optical illusion. It's not the I see water in the desert illusion. It's the illusion that makes us think that we are this body, that we are the roles, the dramas, the stories, the careers, the history, that makes us falsely identify with this identity. So Maya is part of what we would call the wheel of samsara, which is this constant wheel of death and rebirth, death and rebirth, death and rebirth. Why? Because when we are wrapped up in the illusion of Maya, thinking that I am this body, thinking that, he who dies with the most toys wins, thinking that the point and goal of life is about accrual of possessions, of success, of name, of fame, etc. Well then, as I act, when I do anything, I engage in karma, which just means action, I'm going to get the results of that action. They may be sweet, they may be bitter, what we would call either good karma or bad karma. But either way, I have to come back next life to work through that, to exhaust my karmic bank account. But then, of course, I do more karma and I get more fruits, and that bank account just never hits zero. And so I have to keep coming back to do it over and over again. Real enlightenment, moksha. Moksha means freedom, liberation. Free from Maya, free from illusion, free from the games of the mind. So yes, we absolutely can extricate ourselves from the very sticky veil of Maya It just requires a lot of mindfulness, a lot of conscious awareness, a lot of dedication to a spiritual practice that helps free us from the games of the mind. Our practice of meditation, practice of japa, practice of selfless service, seva, practice of devotion, all of these different practices are that which purifies our mind so that we can see. Because Maya is a veil. And so we keep removing it. It's like if you go to a pond that's, in the woods, in the forest, you'll see that the surface layer of that pond tends to be covered with, kind of gunk, what we call pond scum, the sort of layer of just yuck that's on the top of the pond. And if you wanted to actually see your reflection in the pond, you would have to remove that layer of gunk. And then you could see. But if you went away for a few hours or a day and you came back, the gunk would be there again. And so then you remove it again. And then you can see. And our practice of meditation is this constant practice of removing the gunk from our mind. But unlike a pond, which by its nature, by nature of the flora and the fauna that live there, therefore it's going to keep making those layers, the mind actually can be trained. The mind doesn't have to be clouded over. It just needs to be worked with for long enough, sincerely enough, that you can become free. And the other beautiful thing is it's not all or nothing. It's not black or white. It's not like you are doomed to a miserable, stuck, illusory existence until you actually hit enlightenment. It's a spectrum. And along the way, it gets better and better and better. It has less and less of a hold on you. It may still be there. It may arise from time to time. You think you're done. You think you're free, and then suddenly there you are, stuck again in another situation. A whole new layer of ego, a whole new layer of attachment, a whole new layer of ignorance. And you say, okay. So we clear the scum from the top of the pond again. And then we go deeper. And then you may think you're free again. And then hours or days or weeks or months or years later, it arises. Because we're just dropping deeper and deeper. So all along the way, you get freer and freer. It's not all or nothing. So what was his name who asked? Vijay? So Vijay, do not despair. Absolutely don't despair. Every moment that you can live free of Maya is an exquisite moment. And if you can string a bunch of them together at once, then you have this beautiful opportunity for exquisite moments in life. And the more of them you can string together, the more exquisite your life becomes. And if you find that, oh yeah, there's Maya again, it's okay. A lot of us have annoying neighbors who, you may not hear from for quite a while, and then suddenly you bump into them outside on the street. It's all right. My might be an annoying few minutes or more that they may try to take, but then you extricate yourself from it. And then again, you're free. So when Maya arises in that way, don't worry, just greet her. Thanks for stopping by, but I don't have a lot of time today. Nice to see you. I like my unclouded mind, thank you so much. So I'm not actually going to let you wrap your boa constrictorness around my brain. But I see you, I recognize you. And now I'm going to go on my own free way. So just see her like that. Acknowledge her like that when you see her. And if you don't notice that she's there immediately and you find you've gotten stuck, and one moment you sort of wake up and you're in the throes of anger or greed or lust or false identification-induced misery, it's okay. The moment that you realize that she's wrapped herself around you, just peel her off. Just bring in some light, because she cannot exist where there is light. It's a veil of darkness. So bring in some light. Re-anchor, reconnect, reground. And that veil will disappear. So do not despair. There's lots of hope. And there's lots of possibility for all of us. Any other questions?
Hello.
Yes.
Yes, I have a question. What is the difference between meditation and concentration?
Great. Meditation and concentration. So, those of you who have been coming to or watching satsang for a while know that I'm not a huge fan of spending lots of time and attention on semantic differences. The philosophical differences, it tends not to benefit us very much. I'm much more interested in that which actually benefits us, especially when a lot of these terms are English translations of Sanskrit. And in many cases, they're poor translations. And so we end up driving ourselves crazy trying to distinguish between two poor translations of Sanskrit words. But in terms of meditation and concentration, concentration for me comes first. If I can't concentrate, I can't meditate. So we begin by focusing the attention. And whether we focus it on our breath, a mantra, a candle flame, an image of the divine, a name of the divine, essentially that's actually concentration rather than meditation, if you were going to be semantically fully accurate about it. But it's the doorway through which we enter meditation. Because what ends up happening is the effort, the very specific cognitive effort that we use to stay focused, to stay attentive, to stay concentrated on the object of my concentration. That effort stops. And we literally merge into that object. So we merge into And through the breath, we merge into that name of the divine. It just starts chanting itself. We merge into the mantra. It's chanting itself. And then the doors of actual meditation open. Meditation actually begins when that cognitive, concerted effort of concentration ceases. But that's my personal experience. I would not say to you, this is the hard and fast, absolutely, I've gotten everyone to sign on and, agree that this is the exact distinction, semantically. For me, that's the distinction. 1 minute I'm concentrating, and the next minute I'm meditating. And it flows from one to the other, but concentration is that doorway into the meditation. I'm concentrating on this image of the divine through my mantra. And then I'm just merging into the divine. But it begins with concentration. Yes. Yahabia.
Sadhviji, how can we remove fear from our heart?
How do we remove fear from our hearts? Through faith. Faith is the only antidote to fear. Fearlessness does not mean recklessness. A lot of people think that if we become fearless, it means we're reckless. It means that I should, be prepared to bungee jump from some bridge over Ganga, or that I should, not ask a driver to slow down who's driving way too fast, or that I should, be prepared to jump out of an airplane with a parachute because, what's the worst that could happen, right? It doesn't mean that. Fearlessness comes, real fearlessness, comes not because I've decided I don't care, or because I've developed some illusion of invincibility that nothing's going to happen to me, but rather because I have faith in the arms that are carrying me, such that I know that whatever happens is going to be okay. There was a small boy sitting on a boat when the boat started to sink. And the captain gets on the loudspeaker and tells everyone to get to the edges and put on their life jackets and get into the lifeboats. And everyone's screaming and crying and freaking out completely, as you could imagine. And one little boy just sits there. And someone says to him, "Aren't you afraid? You're going to die. This boat's going to sink, or we're all going to drown." And the boy says, "My mom's over there. My mom will fix it." And that beautiful faith of, hey, my mom's here. Whatever it is, I'm in mom's arms. And when that faith can be in the divine, rather than just in a human being. I mean, it's beautiful to have trust and faith in our loved ones. We all should. But at the end of the day, they're human, subject to the same laws of nature that all humans are subject to. And so if we can have faith also in the divine and really know we are being carried There's a beautiful line in our prayers in the morning here that says, "Tu akale nahi pyare, Ram tere saath mein." And it means, my child, you are never alone. God is always with you. And so a cultivation, a heart cultivation of faith is the only way of working through fear that I know of. It makes us realize we're being taken care of. We're being held. We're being carried. Nothing to fear, Mom is here. And that doesn't mean, by the way, that everything's going to go how we want it. It doesn't mean that the stock market's not going to crash. It doesn't mean your house won't burn down. It doesn't mean your loved ones won't die. It means that whatever happens, you are being held. You will be okay. We were talking last night about I'm okay. You will be okay. Because you're in the hands of God. Any fearlessness that's based in illusion. Stock market will never crash. I'll never get sick. Nobody I love will ever get sick. Well, that's a very precarious fearlessness. Because eventually something's going to happen that you didn't want to happen. And then again, you've lost. And that's why if the faith is in God, but in God with the awareness that whatever happens, I'm being held, I'm being taken care of. And so in the case of that boy, for example, you could say, well, either his mom's going to save him, or she's not. But if she doesn't, you can be sure that he's going to take his last breath in his mom's arms. And so even at that moment, he will be okay. And that faith, that's the only way to overcome fear that I have found. Beautiful. Have a beautiful rest of your evenings. A beautiful day to our family joining us through the gift of technology from all over the world. And I look so forward to being together with you all again tomorrow. And so much love to you all.